Hi everyone, my name is Pastor Michael Linderman. I'm the pastor of the Lutheran Church of the Redeemer in Ramsey, New Jersey, and it is May 20th, 2020. I am coming to you today thinking about faith in the present moment, using faith, having faith while in the present moment. I got the idea to talk about this from Stephanie Doyle, our Faith Formation Director. She's been reading a book by Andrew Root, a scholar who teaches at the Luther Seminary in St. Paul, Minnesota. This book is called The End of Youth Ministry, ? Which she says is a challenging book, lots of great insights into youth ministry. But it's got this little insight that we shared with our Parent Academy over the weekend on a Zoom meeting at Redeemer with parents. And so some of you have heard this already, but I'm going to share it with the wider community. One of his great insights is that, Andrew Root's insights, is that we've been so focused on building up the future for our children that we have neglected the experience, how to live in the present moment, the experience of living with ourselves in the present moment. I imagine this as the scaffolding I'm building in my own life for my kids. Through all of the experiences I want them to have, all of the skills building, all of the tutoring, all of the training, all of the coaching, all of the experiences that will build them up as they climb this scaffolding that I'm helping prepare for them. And they will jump off that scaffolding someday into their adult life, and everything will be a great success. And our present moment has so shaken the future and what the institutions that we hope will be there in the future will look like, how solid our finances will be, or the financial health of the institutions in our culture, colleges, schools, businesses, the job market. All of these things are so uncertain now, and we don't know how they're working out and how things will pan out, that we're in this position where all the planning we would normally spend our time doing has so little payoff, because we can't predict anymore with certainty what will happen and what we can look forward to. So we're forced, in a way, back on our own present moment. And so I'm finding this to be true in my own life, and I imagine you are all struggling with this too, some more than others, that living with our present moment is pretty tough. We're not used to doing it. And also teaching our kids how to do this is pretty tough. Usually our kids are on the treadmill of life, and especially in our socioeconomic bracket. We've got all these resources, we've got all this extra income, we've got all these things that we're spending money on that we're giving to our kids, which we might say we're blessed to be able to do for our kids. But now more and more we are being forced to focus on the emotional present in our kids' lives, in our own lives, and we find that we're not used to that. Where do we go? What do we do? How do we address this? And so I want to share with you what I shared with the Parent Academy over the weekend about the way faith in God works, the way it's supposed to work anyway, according to the Bible. Take the Israelites. In the story in the book of Exodus, the ancient Israelites are rescued from slavery in Egypt. Moses leads them through the Red Sea and onto dry land, and they are then on this wilderness journey on the way to the promised land that God has promised them, but it takes 40 years to get there. And in the meantime, what they've got the promise of the promised land. It's a land full of milk and honey, but they don't really know what that's going to be like, and they have no idea what to expect. Otherwise, they have God's provision for them in the present. They've got the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night. Those things you can see as you look to the horizon. So all you have to do is look up. Hey, there's God's presence. Yay, God is with us still. But when they move, you have to pull up your tent pegs and be ready to move with the rest of the people. God is following you. God is leading you, and you have to follow God and God's leading. It's kind of tenuous. You don't know what's going to happen from day to day, and how that's going to work out. Some days you're going to have to move. Other days you just have to wait. So that's tough. God's also providing for them on a daily basis for the things they need. They need food, water. Manna is provided in the morning to eat. Quail at night to eat. God is making these things available for them as they go through this 40-year wandering in the desert. But it is a challenge. And so they are called to just simply trust and have faith. Another thing another resource is Jesus' own teaching about this in the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus in chapter 6 of Matthew says, "Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will care for itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." And we recognize this immediately as a very wise saying. Yes, Jesus, you're right. But do we really put it into practice? Do we really live by focusing on our present moment from day to day? And the truth is that no, we're, as Andrew Root says, we're constantly oriented toward the future, and we have failed to learn how to live in the present moment. So a practical way to do this, of course, is prayer and meditation. But also exercise we know is good, stretching, yoga. These things are out there in the popular culture around us, and we're invited to do these things as Christians. Here's what I do, a practical exercise that I invite you to try. I look for that prayer time alone by myself in a comfortable chair. I say a quick prayer and then I meditate. I remove the thoughts from my mind, chase them away, and just focus on the breath, the inhale and the exhale, the inhale and the exhale. And then I use a mantra as a prayer that just simply repeats. And it becomes hopefully a perpetual prayer in my life. On the inhale breath, Lord Jesus. On the exhale breath, hear my prayer. Lord Jesus, hear my prayer. And I try to stretch that out and make those breaths deeper and deeper. And then I relax into that meditation, and I try and continue to keep the thoughts from coming in and invading that space. And that's a practical way of orienting myself toward the present moment. I can't meditate all day long, but I can return myself to my own present moment, which is the experience and the truth of simply trusting in God's providential care for me day by day, moment by moment. It's not a worry about the future. It's not anxious worrying about the future. It's not anxiety. It's trying to deal with that anxiety and move it to the side of my life. Move those worries that don't go away. I agree. I know. You can't get rid of them fully, but you can move them to the side and let the grace of God come into the present moment and trust in that. And that's how we get through these days of uncertainty. That's the way we're going to move forward in faith, following God's providential guidance and care for us. As Christians who are baptized, we are called into this life of faith that Jesus has modeled for us and that Jesus calls us to as well. And so I hope this is a blessing to you as you move through your daily life as a child of God.